はい。マップはこんな感じになっています。いろいろ寄り道をして広げてきましたけれども、まだちょっとこっちの方で手に入る素材を手に入れたかったんですけれども、まあ見事にいけないのでいけないばっかりなので、進めましょう。ここは安定してるんだけれども、ここも安定してますね。なんだこれ、アンカーパーティー。なるべくこの辺、素材を取っていこうかな。ここをまっすぐ行く方が楽かな。はい。それで、いろいろ、解放して、まだ全然だけど、バスケット、ゴール。ここにできてます。それからね、車の色は変えました。こんな感じになって、帯電仕様から鉛になりました。ただね、全部これにしなくても、スチールでもいいかななんていう気もしますが、で、ルーフにはレーダーとストレージ。で、サイドはストレージと、ガソリンがないなーっていうのに気になって、ガソリンタンク2個。で、さらにこの中にも、燃料缶入ってます。割とこんな感じで用意してて、で、後ろは、大容量バッテリーと、はい、オートパーキングはそのまんまで。ガソリンこんだけ積んでるけど、バッテリーとガソリンかなっていう気がしてるんですよね。で、そんなところで、タイヤはこれオフロードのまんま。で、エンジンは一つ上のターボにしていて、こんなところですか？それからたくさん、っていうか無限に入るロッカー。あ、そうだ、アップデートでこれ。とうとう閉められるようになりました。雨を気にしなくていい。ね、いつも嵐みたいな雨の時、こうピュワーって入ってたので、ちょっと気になってたんですけど。そんなところかな。そうだ、ファックス溜まってるの見ておこうか。待って、キーボードの中に猫がいる。言い間違いじゃないって、キーボードの中。どういうことだ？で、単純にタイピングしたらニャーって鳴くとかじゃない。新しいエンジンにしたからか。大して走ってないのに。もう半分なんですが。
How do you force 100,000 people out of their homes without facing major resistance? Even if you're the United States government, facing down what's being peddled as the greatest threat our nation has ever faced, the answer is, you don't. This is Frequency File, Episode 3, The Human Cost. Last episode, I reported all the cold, hard facts I could get my hands on. If you missed that episode, here's the summary. There wasn't much. Now, we jump tracks to the stories of the people, to knit together old records and eyewitness accounts to form some fabric of the true story. Whoever's job it was at ARDA to suppress stories did a really good job. What they did to keep that sheer number of people from talking, and then to smear the stories that did come out, was a masterstroke of obfuscation. Unfortunately for ARDA, the cases that made it all the way to court became public record. And the facts were these. ARDA played nice at first with a generous relocation package. We offered cold, hard cash and built sprawling housing complexes in nearly every state to resettle the former residents. These new communities were built as idyllic white picket fence where you were sure to be surrounded by all-American families who shared your same values, while enjoying the benefits of government-subsidized grocery stores, school districts, and manicured public parks. Not a bad deal from the looks of things. When it came to the holdouts, the people who wouldn't leave for any amount, things got ugly. But in the end, the government won out, as it always does. And while the government has the sovereign right to seize private property, the Fifth Amendment mandates just compensation be paid for it. But it doesn't specify when or how this compensation be made. And many dissenters ended up with nothing through good old loopholes and bureaucracy. Some of whom are still pursuing their claims to this day. But the chilling thing is, those left with empty pockets consider themselves lucky. There's a saying they mutter amongst themselves under their breath, that at least they had the luck to not live in Sierra.
なるほどね。
Of the witnesses to the Sierra disaster that are still alive, most aren't willing to speak to me. But one eyewitness account remains the most damning report of what happened. Meet Lou Arganza. She was 9 when she last saw her parents alive. You were born in the zone.
Yes, born and raised in Sierra Town until, well,
Did
until
I
it
saw
wasn't a
9?
town anymore.
Lou was evacuated from the zone on February 13th, 1973. Can you share what you remember from that day?
Sure. I was at a week-long wilderness camp. This yearly thing my elementary school would put on. They throw the kids into the woods, show us how to pick apart, animal dropping, sketch birds, things like that. It was my favorite thing as a kid. But that year, I really didn't want to go. Something called the Limb Fair was coming to Sierra, and I begged my dad to let me stay. He told me I could see it the following year. Well, that obviously didn't happen.
あららら、やめなさいってば。私をどこに連れて行こうって言うんだい？今の録音それで終わり？短いね。なにこれ？もう無理じゃんこれ。バッテリーの拡張もダメか。着いたよ。わお、すごい場所。北にいるね。ちょうど角の方にいて、まずはこの周りのエネルギー回収してから向かおう。でまたこれも通り抜けなきゃいけないんだね。のんびり行きましょう。何？
I remember red metal like it was yesterday. You up to your eyeballs in paperwork. Francis coated in chalk dust from the black horse.
You mistaking my lab notes for a trash pile and throwing away weeks of work?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see it again.
They bulldozed that facility to the ground. There's nothing left to reminisce about.
バッテリーどうしようかな。外した方がマシかな。
I mean, everything that happened, handing over Lynn, the way the project ended, it cost you Alan, your career.
お、ここ入り口？
Damn Olympic Peninsula.
場所決まってるのこれ。
You chose your urban legends over
外からしか行けない
You wonder if I
わけで
regret.
はなさそう
I
か。
have no interest in
とりあえず
regret.
まっすぐ行こ
I want to know if you ever felt that leaving was a real option.
After everything I've seen and heard and felt here,
う。わお、
no, not a chance.
すごっ。
Then we have that in common.
単攻撃。 見えない。3で3が払えるってどういうことだってね。あそこにある。はいはい、目標がレッドメドウにあるケイ博士のラボを見つける。わおビリビリはするけど水力発電をつけてるからバッテリーは減っていない。行くか。ガソリンが欲しいですね。ガソリンください。ガソリンもう半分切ってるじゃん。あるかな。まあ入っている。これは簡素なバンパーか。いやこれガソリンタンク、ガソリンの容量じゃなくって違うものの方がいいな。エンジン変えたら消費がすごいからガソリン生成できるものがあったと思うので、タンクじゃなくてそれを積んだ方がいいかもね。おっとっとっとっとっとっと。
Alan didn't discuss his work with me, nor did I share mine with him.
Wait, you were head of the
ど
whole
こ？
state
あの
department.
先か。
You must have known something about what their lab was doing.
If there was anything useful to be found, I'd have sussed it out already. That's all I did after the accident. Try and fail to find any answers.
話がちゃんと聞けてない。ああ、扉が壊れちゃった。とうとう壊れてしまった。作れるかな？扉。ああ、ダクトテープがないのか。バッテリー外すか。息を吹いているがでかっ。バッテリーどれだけ幅を取るんだ。まあ半分になったけどどうにかなるでしょう。さあラボ。
Dr. K's access records were coded to the lab that used to be here.
I'm feeling less optimistic by the second. Not a scoured this place clean.
Something's here. We just can't see it.
Oh, following a hunch. Not your usual MO, Oppie.
No, but being suspicious of Arda is.
またこれあそこと同じで暗いし。なんだあれ。あ、単純にライトか。これ雨の音かな？ここがラボですか？これは右に行くんだろうね。崩壊してる。お、燃料が入ってそうだ。何もないな。 また燃料か。こっちは行き止まりかな。あれ、あそこに穴がある。右かと思ったけど、こっちで合ってたのかな。連絡トンネルを通る。こっちだったんだ。ちょっと待って。え、こっち行き止まり？何？ちょっと戻って。他に何かないか。燃料管ところどころに置いてある。なんでこんなところに穴が開いているんだ。ところどころに扉が付けられているんだね。雨が入り込んでいる。わお。何ここ。すごっ。お邪魔します。これまだ途中なんだ。すごい施設。
Scan and transmit it back to us. We'll work on disengaging the security protocol.
OK。つまり周りをチェックだ。なくなっちゃった。ないのか。実験データ、眩しい。異常現象レポート。喋ってくれる。うんうん。危ない危ない危ない。ハンマーがなくなっちゃったよ。ここにもある。
Oh, you'll like this, Tobias. Your remnant origin story, if you will.
So let me guess. You're about to ruin a good urban legend with a
車
bunch
に乗
of
って回る
signs.
か。
Fine, I'll read this one myself. Nice work, driver. We'll review these and summarize our findings after.
エンジンはもったいないから切っておこうね。外で何かが。ここにはない？こっちか。
These lab notes are complete gibberish.
What about these diagrams, though? It looks like he was trying to convey something.
You can admire the doctor's newfound art skills all you want. You won't find anything useful in them.
本当に正解はあそこだろう。ああ、これだけあるの取れないなんて。用意してきたはずなんだけど、ハンマーが。ハンマー作れないよね。作れた。あ、でもガスボンベか。作っておこう。
Go on, driver. Keep snooping and see what else you can find.
はいはい。あそこはどうやって行くんだろう。あ、8号じゃない、階段があった。なんじゃこりゃー。なに？なんか雨粒じゃないよね。なんだこれは？さっきハンマー1個作ったけど、もう壊れちゃった。何が起こってんだろう。うん。
And you're all clear.
Give us a moment. We'll let you know what we found in all this data. You can make your way back to the auto shop after you're done scouring the place.
あ、もう帰っていいの？
Thank you.
はい、オッケー。で、これ出口どこ？出口どここれ？出口どこですか？ここは閉まってるよね。あそこか。ここが出口。ここから。はい、じゃあ帰りましょう。まだボロボロだな。まあでも今までよりはまだマシでしょうか。扉が一つ完全に壊れちゃったけど、ちょっと装備の見直しが必要ですね。時間。ここは脇道。で、今右下に行って、これ取って、帰るか。はい。
Driver, you hit the jackpot. We've got a lead on what you're heading toward in the deep zone. Tobias, give us the rundown about the well.
泉。
ARDA classified it as a hotspot of ultra-high energy gamma radiation. Its eruptions were spontaneous, and ultimately ARDA made no conclusion about what caused it, when it would blow, or how destructive it would be. ARDA, of course,
wanted to control this bottomless well of energy. So they brought in Dr. K and Alan to research activation and containment. They discovered a way to reliably trigger the well, and that was the remnants.
And that's what the remnants have been leading people towards. The well.
なるほどね。いや、嫌なところに車止めちゃったな。
This second report's a good one.
ここじゃなくてね、もうちょっと一歩踏み出して、くるっと。
They aimed to create a trigger for activating the well by infusing objects with a carefully calibrated limb wave. The ones that shared a resonant frequency would.
Yeah,
こっちだよ。
You know,
あれ回復とはまた違うのかな。
unfortunate attention span. Reading this makes it obvious
いら
how
っ
the
しゃい。
remnants ended up in the wild.
Wait, what?
あ、回復してる。
The gamma ray surge that caused the mass hallucination event. That energy irradiated everything within a 10-mile radius. Objects with the right characteristics absorbed that energy
ちょっとあんまり大して話は聞けてないんだけど。
in the zone.
Wow.
Wow.
Got a kick out of that one. I'll tell him later.
おっと。感電してしまった。でも大丈夫。君がついているからね。
I've reviewed Dr. K's lab notes. Now we know what he was doing in that lab after the accident. Spinning in circles for years.
His injuries were real. Dr. K's radiation exposure should have been fatal.
And the minute he could stand on his feet again, Otis shuttled him right back to his lab and bid the monkey to dance.
They allowed him to carry on in the hopes that he would reproduce anything useful. He worked for 2 whole years before they quietly retired him from his post.
もう来ないか、さらば。マネーだ。何？どれ？おっと。何？なんか持ってってはないよね。
You got that accident record ready, Tobias? It's time.
Okay then. September 14, 1961. Otis finalized report on what happened that night. Dr. K and Alan were testing the activation potential of lab-created remnants. That night was a run-of-the-mill remnant test. Nothing out of the ordinary.
The remnant in question was a tungsten cube. At 3:23 a.m., the cube was brought towards the well. The well reacted at nominal levels. However, at the 500-meter distance, the cube was sucked into the well and triggered the gamma ray surge. The energy output continued ramping up, and at 15 seconds, showed no signs of stopping. Then, Alan...
Go on. I can handle it.
Dr. K testified that Alan engaged the suppression protocol
Oh,
and the kill
how did
switch,
I?
both of which failed. Dr. K ordered Alan to get to safety, but Alan insisted on staying at the controls. Only when he flipped the radiation polarity did the energy output plateau, then collapse back into itself. Alan's gamma radiation exposure was fatal due to his proximity to the well. If it weren't for him, the entire zone might have gone under.
That's who Alan was. Loyal until the very end.
I'm sorry, Oppie.
I'd expect nothing less from him. Once that car gets to the well,
次々来
we
る
can
な。
expect another gamma ray eruption.
なんか音が聞こえてんだけど、あれの
And
音
I
か
may
な。
have found the answer in Alan's lab notes. His work on that suppression technique was top notch.
What's interesting is Dr. K and Alan didn't know any more than we do now. They had no conclusions about what the well is.
あ、そ
Or
こにあ
what
っ
the
た。
remnants did, or how they interacted with this well. Maybe they're ladles that scoop out a metered amount of gamma radiation. Maybe they trigger an eruption that we can't stop and will destroy the zone if we get it too close.
お
That's
お
a。hell of a range. What are we going to do?
We keep going.
But if it's an eruption,
I
全
already
然、
sacrificed the Olympic Peninsula once for new tech. How many
全然
chances
飛ば
for
ない
total and utter fallout does a gal get in her life, huh?
Oppie, in another life, we would have made a fantastic team.
In no universe would I not have murdered you in your sleep.
おっと、びっくりした。おいっぱい、いっぱい来たけど。いっぱい来たけど、くっついてくれないのか。ドスン、チャキン。結局ついてない。 じゃあ帰ろう。ですですです。まあデコボコしているので道路沿いに行った方がマシだろうという判断で、滑るタイヤが2本ダメになった。あんまり素材取れてないけど、帰りましょう。おお、危ない危ない危ない。あれビリビリして帰ってきた。なぜ何があったのか。お、いよいよディープゾーンですか。
Except for the issue of the old wall.
Right, yeah. That. You got some genius idea up your sleeve, huh?
Is that how you think it works? That scientists conjure up genius at will?
Well, yeah. Do you?
Well, in this case, I do. But don't expect it to work like that every time. Driver, the quarantine checkpoints will be the best way through the old wall, but they're death traps in their own right. But I designed something to help. Check out the blueprints I sent over.
ディープゾーンへ。何の設計図を送ってくれたのでしょうか。LIM シールド。新たな発明品の組み立て手順が記載された略図。これを完成させた者はこの発明品を試す最初かつ唯一の人間になる可能性がある。
The old anomalies took up residence in the crossing points. It's not enough to have a shield. The shield itself needs to be shielded.
The energy drain on that shield is massive. It won't last you more than 5 seconds.
Yes, and?
You'll need to recharge on the go, but the deep zone's grid is completely dark.
You know, what if we could reroute our power into the deep zone? But we'd need to jumpstart the network somehow.
That car is basically the world's most overpowered electromagnet on wheels. The driver induces a current, then you open the electrical floodgates.
They'd have to induce the current the entire way through the old wall while making the crossing and maintaining speed.
I don't know what to tell you. If you don't believe the driver and that car's got what it takes by now, then go back to hunting ghosts. We've got a job to do here.
This could work. Are you in, Francis?
I don't know.
Look, we have a real chance of losing everything at the old wall. I'd like to not fail this far along.
How can we know this will work?
We don't. That's how science works. We form a theory, and we test it, and we fail. And fail, and fail, and only sometimes do we succeed.
Come on, Francis. Please?
Fine. I'll do it.
All right. The team is assembled.
Driver, get on with building that limb shield. We'll work on spinning up the power grid in the meantime.
くれるのかな。フィールドどちら。LIM シールド。この防御装置は確かに大量のバッテリーを食うが、ひとたび作り出してみればどうしてこんな簡単なことを思いつかなかったのかと不思議になる。急速に振動するスピノル状の中で短時化されたプラズマイオンを発射して停止させることで極めて堅牢な物理防御装置が出来上がる。ただそれだけの話。作れますね。バンパーか。バッテリーね。入らない。 バッテリーだよね。これをどうにか。ないといけなくって。入らないよね、これ。ガチャコン。火を吹くぜ。でもこれもう修理できないから、ここに入れるしかない。そして、
Nice work on that limb shield driver. We'll have the power grid prepped by the time you reach the old wall.
この感じでいけるのか気になるところですが、いよいよディープゾーンに突入しますね。バックして見とこう。どんどん来るんだ。写真撮影は非常に難しくなった放射線とかここで起きてるあらゆる現象のせいで大体のフィルムがダメになってしまう。でも信じてほしい。俺は確かに、何を見たんだろう。